Good evening, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Mayor and Council. Tonight is Monday, July 17th, 2017. We will start the evening off with the Open Public Meetings Act. I hereby announce and request that such be included in the minutes of this meeting, that notice of the time, date, and place of this meeting has been prominently posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, mailed to the Times, the Star-Ledger, the Courier News, the Alternative Press by January 10th, 2017, filed with the Borough Clerk, and mailed to any person requesting the same in accordance of the Open Public Meetings Act. I would ask that everyone that is here tonight to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would ask that you remain standing and use this time for a moment of silence. Thank you. Mrs. McGovern, may we have a roll call, please?
Kevin Forrest, Russell Hugel.
Present.
Tom Krantz.
Here.
Erin McElroy-Walker.
Here.
Catherine Mitchell. Jack Mulliner.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here. We will first begin by doing an approval of minutes of meetings that the Mayor and Council have had. Our regular scheduled meeting of last month, which was held on June 19th, 2017. We had an agenda meeting on June 10th, 2017, and the Mayor and Council met as a special meeting prior to that agenda meeting on January 10th, 2017. July. Thank you. May I have a motion on that, please?
So moved.
And I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm going to move over to the podium for our presentation of our Volunteer of the Month. So good evening, and for those of you that are in the audience,
Yes.
Thank you for coming out tonight. And for those of you at home, I hope your summer is going well, and thank you for tuning in to see what's going on within the borough. As many of you know, each month we take a few minutes to draw some attention to a local resident who we feel has gone above and beyond in their volunteer aspects of living in the community, have done something that shows how much they care for this community, and done it on a purely volunteer basis. And this month, I have the pleasure of awarding this to a very special resident who I have gotten to know. Her name is Amy Nuzzo, and I'd like for her to please come forward. So,
thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. So, Amy and I first met as a result of the Raritan Valley Rail Coalition. As many of you know, Fanwood is on the Raritan Valley line, and securing a one-seat ride has been a real challenge and a fight for those of us on the coalition. I got actively involved probably like 3 or 4 years ago with Peter Palmer out of Somerset County. We did get some service, minimal service, when they brought in the dual locomotives that could switch from diesel to electric in Newark. But part of how we were able to get to that point was that we needed to create a public service announcement, a sort of a commercial of sorts over why one-seat ride was so important for us along the entire Raritan Valley line. And we are a small group that really has no money. And Amy and her husband live in town, and they actually commute. They go in and out of New York a lot. But what they do is they have a professional production company called Concept to Cuts Production that does quality, unbelievable work that would stand up next to anything I see in television and in the movies. It's first class. So Amy and her husband actually produced the commercial of the Raritan Valley line. We got Cory Booker, and it was awesome. Fast forward, Fanwood decides to join the Greater Westfield Area Chamber of Commerce, because we understand there's a value for our business community to be a part of a larger chamber of commerce of 5 different towns. And we had 2 spots that represented us on the board. And Amy's passion for Fanwood came through so clearly with the Raritan Valley line that she showed interest in actually representing Fanwood on the board of directors. So she jumped in. It was a brand new venture for us. It was awesome. Just the benefits of being a part of a larger chamber. And out of that came this idea that we needed to do something. We weren't sure what that something was as being a part of a larger chamber, some event. And sitting around a table, the Fan Jam was born. And Fan Jam was just held a week ago?
July 9th.
July 9th.
Yes.
July 9th, which by all accounts was probably the most successful event that brought in thousands of people to our community. The first ever rock and roll, food truck, classic car show, vendors, and it was just exceeded everybody's expectations. And Amy was really the driving force behind the scenes. You know, she was the one that says, I want to deal with the music. I want to find the bands. And we had 5 bands that day, true rock and roll bands that were from the area. You know, there was some connection to Fanwood and Scotch Plains or the greater Union County for every single one of them. And it brought us in thousands of people. We had close to 19 or 20 food trucks that had lines all day. We had 75 to 80 classic cars. And again, Amy's being recognized tonight for her behind the scenes, you know, selfless dedication, throwing herself in from everything from the marketing, the logo. The logo was awesome. If you've seen shades of like Woodstock, you know, was it, to the entertainment, the management of it, everything you had your fingers in. So when we talked about who we would recognize at last week's meeting, it was really a no-brainer. You know, so really on behalf of all of us up here, and I think all of us attended that are here on the governing body, spent time there. We want to just say publicly to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your energy, your love of our town, embracing a new concept, a new event that, like I said, exceeded everybody's expectations, and I can't wait to see what the 2nd annual Fan Jam brings, because it's going to be bigger and better.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it will be.
So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Oh, wow.
So this is a picture of our historic train station, and as I always say, this is what is considered the gem of our community and what people think of when they think of Fanwood, and we want you to hang this and know that, you know, we thank you. We thank you very much for everything you've done, and please say it.
Thank you very much. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've never accepted an honor like this before, so I'm a little bit shy, but thank you very much. It was a lot of work, working on Fan Jam, but it was fun and exciting because it was something that I thought would be really cool, and I knew a lot of people that I know in the community would also thought would be really cool, and something for the adults, not only for kids. We had a lot of things in town for kids, but this was something for the adults too. And I think we got really lucky with the weather, and I think certainly the borough, Mayor Marr, and really every official within the borough really was all about saying yes to this from the beginning. It wasn't, well, we can't do this because, it was, how can we do this? Yes, we're going to do this. What do we have to do to do this? And that's why it worked. That's why it came together, because everyone was behind it. And it actually went, I think, more smoothly than new events in other towns because of that attitude and because of just everyone really being so on board with it. So I really thank you, and I thank, you know, from police to public works, to parks, everyone really just pulled together to make it happen. And so I'm excited that we're going to do this again next year.
Thank you. awesome day. I have one appointment that I would like to make to the Recreation Commission. Elise Blasi will be a new alternate on the Recreation Commission with the term expiring on 12/31/2017. May I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have 3 pieces of correspondence. Just get to that. I don't see them. Yes, number 6. I was just looking actually for the pieces of correspondence, but I think I'd like to make a motion to move as the disposition notes to note and file, and the funding for the Gateway program is actually on as a resolution a little further down.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to our standing committee reports, and we will start with Councilman Russ Yugel, please.
Okay. I have the tax collector's monthly report for the month of June 2017. So during that month, it was total collections of $120,863.09, which brought the year-to-date total at $15,606,140.37. So,
May I have a motion to move that?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I do need to schedule an A&F meeting, but one of the things that we've been doing, which coming up soon, is Fanwood has done a sewer study, and that's in the works, so hopefully in the next couple of months, we will be revealing, not revealing, but showing the borough and going through that, but council first needs to get its arms around the study to see what the path forward is for that. So that's one of the things. But, so that's sort of my report, but I will be scheduling a meeting. Hopefully, I don't know about the attendance, summertime, vacations, but we'll get one in before the fall comes in.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Boris is not here, so I will,
He will be here. He's just running late. He'll be here in about 15 so minutes, so if we can go out of order.
sure. Public Works, Councilman Molitor?
That'd be me. Okay, a couple of things. Fire department this month had 25 calls. 25 calls, and most were, there were some for carbon monoxide alarm, there was 2 for monoxide alarms, 5 for residential fire alarms, 4 for mutual aid. There was one, they had to respond to a house on North Avenue because the dishwasher had electrical fire. A lot of smoke, but everyone was okay and worked out, so I'm sure they had to get a new dishwasher. So there was no injuries for the month, which is always good, and they did the required drilling, which they have to do on building maintenance on some rescues, high and low angle. So that's fire department. Public Works, obviously spent a lot of time helping out with Fan Jam and setting all that up. They also, every year, they have to do an annual storm sewer inspection. That's required of us by the DEP.
Can you just get closer to the mic?
Turn it up.
How's that?
As close as she said on?
As close as I can. It's on. It's on.
All right,
I'll
get
try.
closer, Jack.
I got it.
There you go.
Okay, they also did pothole repairs on many streets. I know Russ always likes to hear about the pothole repairs.
Give it to me.
I think it was, how many tons do you think, Russ?
I'm gonna go with 14 tons.
14 tons. That's almost like a song, isn't it?
It's 16 tons, actually.
It's
It's a
16.
song.
Darn, I was close. Okay, 14 tons is it. I think he looked at his report. I think he cheated. But a lot of streets, Forest Road, Woodland Avenue, Montrose, Lindy Lane, Oak Court, Shady Lane, Deer Place, Morris Avenue, Tillotson, Willoughby, and King Street all had some pothole repair. And that's it for Public Works. They're always out there. They're always doing a great job. Of course, they're always helping out with the fields as well. The other thing I want to bring up tonight is our engineering report. since our engineer's on vacation this month. Or this week, so we let him go, so I'm going to give his report. Poplar Road is a project that we'll be doing this summer. That project is expected construction to start around now, and it's going to go for about 2 months, and it's total reconstruction of that road, curb to curb, and some storm sewers. And that part of that is being paid by a grant from DOT for $200,000 we got from DOT on that. So that's close to about half of the cost of it, so that's a good thing for the borough, always. The sidewalk, each year we have a curb and sidewalk program. This year, what we're looking at is trying to put in some new sidewalks on North, somewhere between where the Quick Check is and going up to where North splits from Midway. And the other area we're looking at is to fix in some sidewalks on Terrell where there's some gaps in between Mary Lane and Patterson on Terrell that would kind of finish a loop. So we're looking to do that as well. So that goes to trying to make Fanwood more pedestrian friendly. We've got some bids on the plaza behind the stores, and we're right now in the process of negotiating with the contractors in order to award that project. I don't know if we've finished. Oh, we are doing that, sorry. So even better news. Thank you, Fred. And Colleen, I don't know if you want to talk about our grant, but I can.
Sure, you can.
Luckily, we've employed a very good grant writer. We have good staff, and they identified a grant to go after back in November or October of 2016. And this was a federal grant through the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, and you might have seen it in the paper, but we're being awarded over $800,000 to do enhancements to the South Avenue corridor. This could be bicycle racks, it could be new bus shelters, it could be new sidewalks, street lighting, all these things to help around really what is becoming our transit corridor. So TPA, that's probably one of the largest grants Fanwood's ever been awarded. So yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that it was probably one of the largest awards that we have gotten, and it will start from Terrell on South Avenue and proceed all the way to the train station, and then there'll be work also additionally in the train station for the portion of the lot that we actually own, because New Jersey Transit owns part of the lot as well. Very, very competitive, extremely competitive. We were the only town in Union County to be awarded this grant, and I think there was less than 26 or maybe full awards themselves.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot, but it was. It's very good for Fanwood. It really adds to everything we're doing along the South Avenue corridor, adds to all the rezoning we've been doing, all the redevelopment that we're starting to see down the corridor now, talking to other developers about doing more along the corridor. So this really adds to everything we've been doing. So that's great. The other project that's been the topic of discussion a lot this summer over the past year is Madison Avenue, and we're going to be having another public meeting with residents of Madison Avenue just about putting in a sidewalk on Madison Avenue, and we'll be running a meeting with them, and anyone who can't come, we're going to reach out to them directly. We're not sure if that we'll get that done this year. We've already applied for an extension from DOT in order to make sure if we can't get it in this fall that we can do it late spring. That's all I have for all my things. The planning board was just a very short meeting, just some minor variances, and they're meeting next week. That's it for now.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Krantz?
Thanks, Mayor. As the council liaison to the Board of Health, my interest was piqued on Saturday as I was tooling through my Facebook posts, and I saw a post from a lady who lives at Fanwood Crossing 2 who talked about multiple sightings of multiple rats that she'd seen in and around the area of the trash dumpsters in the municipal parking lot. These are the dumpsters that are essentially owned and are supposed to be maintained by our businesses directly behind the Martine Avenue businesses there. So I decided to take a walk out there, and the bottom line is that that's an issue that's been going on basically since we started doing construction at Second and LeGrand. Rats have been with us for centuries and for generations. They live underground, they travel through the sewers, and when there's construction, they get rousted and awakened. What we had there, however, was a perfect storm of that combined with pretty filthy conditions, actually, not in the dumpsters, but in the area outside the dumpsters in the enclosure. There's garbage on the ground. And while I didn't see any rats, I talked to at least 2 residents who had. And then today, when I went to check, I talked to one of our landscaping guys who said that he had seen a couple as long ago as 3 weeks ago. So obviously, we don't want rats. We don't want to see one, let alone multiple ones. So we kind of the thing that I was appreciative about was that somebody actually posted something constructive on Facebook. The thing I didn't appreciate was that so many other people immediately assumed the worst and immediately assumed that we ignored it and didn't do a thing about it. The fact of the matter is that I'm basically the last person to know about this problem out there. One woman actually called the police, and one of our police officers took a report 2 weeks ago. It was forwarded to the health department. The health department had since been out there. They set bait traps. The gentleman who represents the businesses who are in charge of those dumpsters actually increased the collections. He told the vendor to come 3 times a week instead of 2. The Board of Health was supposed to be out again today or possibly tomorrow to set more. And as of today, the dumpsters were emptied, and that area it's about 90% better now than it was over the weekend. But the fact of the matter is that there's an issue there. It's obvious that garbage isn't making it into the dumpsters, and that's attracting rats, and we don't want that. So it's my understanding that we're organizing a meeting with the merchants, the businesses whose responsibility is to make sure the garbage goes into the dumpsters and to keep that area clean. And we're also going to be, we're in touch with the Board of Health, which is monitoring that situation closely. And I just want to assure everybody that we are totally on top of this, and we're going to do everything we can to abate that problem. That's my report.
It's been cleaned out as well. The enclosure has been cleaned out.
Right, I was there today, and it's still, I mean, it's not a sterile work environment. It's a place where trash is, but it's, as I said, 90% better than it was over the weekend.
And we have the camera now set up.
Yes, there's surveillance. There's a sign on the dumpster wall that says there are surveillance cameras, which there are. We had the technician go out today and make sure the cameras were aimed at the right place so that we could actually see excuse me, anybody who dumps illegally. And I think that I've heard from several people that there is plenty of illegal dumping that goes on there. People just show up from God knows where. They empty their pickup trucks and whatever else they can, usually at night. We also have, just people who walk by who just throw things in there. They don't care whether it goes into the dumpster either. So our police will be checking the surveillance cameras more often. We do take this seriously. It's right in the middle of our main parking lot, and we're going to work very hard to make that problem go away, or at least better. I mean, we can't guarantee that you'll never see another rat again because we live in a part of the country where they just are, but we certainly can do a lot more than we've been doing to make them go away.
Thank you.
That's what I know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Boris?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to start out with giving the police department report, and I'd like to start that. Many residents may have known there was a break-in on Farley Avenue. Today in the patch, it was reported that 3 arrests were made, and our police did a very, very good job of a quick turnaround, quick investigation, and like I said, 3 arrests were made today. So I want to tip my hat to the chief and the whole department. I have a report from the chief for the month of June 2017. There were 1,151 total calls for police assistance through the CAD system and 17 calls through the 911 terminal. There were 531 motor vehicle stops, which resulted in 471 summonses issued. Total adult arrests were 15 in the month of June, 0 juvenile arrests, and 17 total crimes reported. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you. I will just sort of piggyback on the councilman's comments on the police investigation to echo our thanks to our Fanwood Police Department and a special note of thanks to Officer Mike Rusin, who was the officer that was working that evening and took a real lead in the investigation. And you know, in speaking with the chief, and as the councilman said, it was probably within 3 hours that they identified the suspects. And I know that sometimes the community wants specific information, but as the chief said, this was a really ongoing, fast-moving investigation that took place. All the parties have been charged. There have been 3 of them. We've worked great with the Plainfield Police Department. These individuals will be charged on robbery, weapons, and theft. We live in a beautiful community, and this definitely kind of shook a lot of us up because it could happen to any one of us living on any of our streets. But I think our takeaway is that we have an excellent police department who is trained for these sort of things, and the ability to identify them within 3 hours and then to charge them today within a few days speaks volumes to that. So again, just want to echo your comments on that. Councilwoman McElroy Barker?
So, obviously it's summer, so there's a lot going on in Fanwood Recreation. The Grand Camp has been going on for a few weeks now, since the week after school ended, and is, I think, going on quite successfully. They're also in their second week of the tween teen travel camp. My children are in it and had a great time today. And that has been over-enrolled all 3 weeks, so that's been very successful for the commission. Party in the Park was June 28th. A terrific night. It was very well attended. And we actually had the opportunity to host Alex's Lemonade Stand, which is a fundraising group for children's cancer, represented by family members who lost a child in the last year who live in the community. And apparently they also did quite well in their fundraising efforts that night, people generously taking a lemonade and donating to Alex's Lemonade Stand. So it was a really successful night. Most of the rec commission was also present and helpful at the Fan Jam as much as they were able. Sort of the next big thing in the works is the 5K. And right now the plan is for it to be held on October 31st at 3 o'clock instead of the early bird. I'm sorry, did I say 31st? I meant 21st. It's been a long day. So October 21st at 3 o'clock. The route might be adjusted just slightly, but will probably be very similar to what it is now. And we're hoping that the afternoon time might draw a lot of parents who are otherwise engaged in soccer and just about everything else on a Saturday morning and can't make time for themselves to come out for the run. So we're actually hoping this increases participation, and you'll probably see advertising for that very soon. There might be a movie date night on July 22nd, but I haven't heard much recently, so I'm not sure if that flew.
No, that is.
It's flying. It's movie date night in La Grande Park as opposed to like a movie night, the movie night for the kids. So this one is just for parents.
Cool.
So bring your lawn chair and
All right.
Each other.
don't bring your children.
Okay.
Okay. And that's all I have.
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, there was one other thing I thought of that I forgot, which is maybe of interest to people, which is the, in the news, it was the school aid was, oh, I'm sorry, we're still getting used to these new microphones, but the Fanwood Scotch Plains School District was awarded additional state aid. So I just wanted to turn it over to Fred Tompkins, our CFO, so he can kind of explain it in further detail about what that means, because there's some implications potentially on the tax levy.
The state awarded our district an additional $186,000 in state aid.
Oh, that's good. He has a microphone.
I don't think there is any.
Is there one over there?
Sorry,
Yeah, that's his.
Oh, okay, great.
didn't realize the microphone. About a week ago, I guess at the agenda meeting, we talked about the fact that the state sent out directive that we could not issued tax bills until all the school budgets were recertified. They still haven't been recertified. All that's happened is the state has given each district a dollar amount that they're either getting more or less. Some districts getting less. So they have that. Based on the direction from the Division of Local Government, we're supposed to come up with a new tax levy by this Friday, assuming that the municipality and the Board of Education agree on whatever it is. I think there's also some direction that's coming out, or some commentary from the League of Municipalities about the same thing. Thank you. It's unclear to me whether they have to reduce the levy or they don't have to reduce the levy. What it seems to indicate is that it's something that has to be agreed upon by the Board of Education, and I think we have to agree to it as well. But I don't know for sure, because, the information is fuzzy at best. And it is possible it will go past Friday, and it says it in the notice from the Division of Local Government that the parties can agree not to do it by Friday. I'm not sure what a deadline means if you then can go past the deadline because everybody agrees to go past the deadline. Sounds like the state budget. It's how we got to this in the first place. But at any rate, I haven't heard anything from the Board of Education about what they want to do or what they intend to do. Their options are they could decide to spend the money and increase the appropriations, or they can reduce the levy, or they could do some combination of the two, but I don't really know what they're going to do. At the same time, on this agenda, we do have authorization for the TANs, because we don't have an agreement. We still haven't come to a certified tax levy, so we can't send out tax bills. So I'm still going to have the same issue. Won't sell TANs unless I absolutely have to, but, it could be that I have to do that. I don't know. That explain to everybody?
So just so everybody is clear, the TANs are bonds, so we're not going to raise the money unless we absolutely have to. I mean, if
Well,
there's a need for it.
it's a cash flow borrowing.
Right.
Think of it that way.
The
It's not,
budgets. Is all of this with the school, like, we haven't heard from them yet, but all this potentially could take place before we meet next time
could,
in August. So,
possible.
all right, so,
We need to communicate with them through Fred
Yeah.
and Eleanor, and to directly ask them
Yeah, I think.
how what they're going to
I
be.
agree. I think the communication needs to be from them to us, because they don't seem to be communicating at this point. Not pointing any fingers, but I'm just saying.
No, right.
Yeah,
No, there's
I've
direct
tried to communicate
implications.
with them.
But Fred, didn't you say that part of the direction was that the municipalities and the board have to agree on whatever
Well,
the
it
decision
seems
is
to
about?
indicate that, but it's fuzzy at best.
Oh.
The outline that they gave us is not clear. I don't know whether the Board of Ed can just, the way the levy gets set is they prepare a form called an A4F form. The A4F form comes, they sign it, it comes to us, and has to be signed on our end. We have to agree to it. If it's not signed and it doesn't go to the County Board of Taxation, there is no tax levy. So I think Eleanor signs it, and I think I sign it too.
I know I signed it.
Yeah, I think we both have to sign the A4F.
So they
form.
could potentially draft their plan and just send it to us for
Yeah.
signature rather than asking
They
to meet with
could,
us?
but we could also not sign it.
Right. Okay, just clarifying.
But I believe that you've reached out to the Board
I have.
of Education to sort of inquire as to what they were going to do.
Right.
So I would ask that maybe make another call tomorrow. And at this point, they should know and they should communicate, since the tax bills have not gone out.
They may not know, because they may not have, they only got this information, only came out late Friday afternoon, so they may not have had a meeting, the board, I don't know when the board meets, but they need to have a meeting and come to some agreement.
They don't generally have scheduled
Yeah, they're gonna-
meetings in the summer.
Right, so they're
So
going
we'll
to
have
have to
to-
get together on an emergent basis.
Yeah, they're going to
I'm
have to have some
assuming.
kind of a meeting in order to do
Because they don't
this.
usually in July and August.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on that? Okay, so Kathy Mitchell's not here. Any other committee reports? I think I'll just make a notion that in addition to the $800,000 that the borough was able to receive through a very sound application on its redevelopment and its transportation activities, we also received 2 grants from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection that falls under Green Acres. And one grant will go directly to the Nature Center, which will help us with the overgrowth of the invasive plant species, enhancement of walking trails, spectator areas, and environmental and education features, which is a really great thing, because the Nature Center is a wonderful attribute to our community. And we also received a large grant for developing passive and active recreational opportunities within Forest Road Park. So it's been a very good month for the Borough of Fanwood as far as achieving success with its grant applications. Moving on to the presentation of claims.
Yes, Mayor, I have those. At this time, I would move claims in the amount of $2,647,477.18, having been listed on the bill list and recorded in the files of Borough Hall, and approved by the chairman of the appropriate committee, BP. So
May I
I'll
have a
move
second
that.
on that?
Second?
May I have a roll call, please, for the payment of claims?
Melissa Yuko?
Yes.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Charles Dance?
Yes.
Annette Walker?
Yes.
Jack Mullimer?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Auditing of claims by resolution, we have none? I'd now like to open up the meeting to the public for agenda items, but most people,
Motion, do we need a motion?
yes.
Motion to open the meeting to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome.
Michael Lewis, 41 Beach Avenue in Fanwood. Resolution 1707-144. I'd like to offer a couple of comments, ask a couple of points of clarification, so I can express my unequivocal opposition to it as it is currently written. First, with regards to the questions, how much input did our police department, Chief Treadwell, have in actually drafting this resolution?
I'll let Daniel McCarthy, who interacted with the chief, answer that.
Yes, I spoke with the chief, and in terms of the police operations in the community, we went through what the resolution was what the basis of the resolution was, and the chief indicated that the resolution, as we discussed it, would not, in terms of police operations, change the nature of what Fanwood has done historically with respect to these matters. And he had no objection to it.
Okay. With regards to the expression with regards to interactions with regards to immigration and citizenship and whatever else, to what extent really does borough business involve questions of citizenship and immigration? To be perfectly honest with you, I try to avoid all of you. So, and I've never been asked a question with regards to citizenship or immigration, and I shouldn't have to. So I don't see the necessity of this. So my question very simply is, where does this come up?
Counsel, which one would like to address this? Jack? Or whoever. I mean, you
Yeah,
all-
there was a few of us that were talking about this and seeing what's going on nationally, and we know we pull people over. We know we deal with residents here. We know people come through town that might have, we want to make sure that we're saying to the public that we are not going to do anything unlawful, and they will be safe to come through Fanwood, and they'll be safe to talk to our police and not be afraid that they have to be a citizen. So that is why. We think there's a number of us that will vote on it later,
I'm
but
sure you will.
that's really what it came from, because we think it's important for us at a municipal level to say that this is important to us.
It's important to me too. It's important that people be left alone. But by the same token, let's start out with another basic proposition, the proposition that these people, such as they are not supposed to be here in the first place. So yes, you have two contradictory propositions here. I'm sorry, ma'am. We have two contradictory propositions. The notion that people have a basic right to be left alone and a basic right that they shouldn't, they're here illegally. You can say undocumented till the cows come home, but they are here illegally. Now, if you had stopped with, at 1 subparagraph 3, I guess, that would take it in line with what was my impression of what was originally going to be proposed, which is basically something that's basically not proactive per se. You're not taking anything, you're just basically saying that people have a basic right to be left alone and not be harassed. And I have no problem with that. But now we take it a step further. We start with D, a policy where a presentation of a state driver's license accepted as adequate. You can accept other things. As far as that goes, that's fine. Understand that I have to jump through hoops to get a driver's license. 6 points of identification. All of a sudden, you're carving out something for people, once again, not supposed to be here in the first place. Encouraging Union County to encourage a county ID program available to all Union County residents with regards to their immigration status. Why is this even necessary? Your guess is as good as mine. Policy to provide a periodic report. How many inquiries are actually made? I suppose in one respect that's good, perhaps you want to keep a tab on it, it's fine. But this is far more proactive than it has to be. A policy that its law enforcement agents and employees not enter into any contracts, agreements, or arrangements with the federal government that deputize the law enforcement officers to act as immigration act things. All of this really would be fine if it were accompanied by other things. If it were accompanied by a path to citizenship. No mention of that at all. Appointment of justices. People have a right to due process, and certainly you could set a threshold for any crossable law where they're not subject to deportation. No mention of that. Right now, you're just doing something that's blanket, and that is wrong. And I urge you not to support this. Thank you.
Can I just respond real quick? I don't know if you were here last at the agenda meeting, but I also expressed reluctance about this, but on a much broader basis than you do. We already do all this. We're not, we already do everything here. And my basic question was, why do we need this if this is what our policy is already? And what it comes down to is we're making a statement. We're basically making a statement that,
The statement is wrong.
yeah, that's a matter of opinion. And that's what we're going to be voting on tonight. But I definitely hear the questions about whether we should be writing resolutions and laws to make political statements just because we can, regardless of, I understand what's going on in the rest of the company.
You can do more and more constructively.
I don't see the harm on sleeping on it for a week in supporting the basic notion that we don't need to be doing ICE's job. And I do agree with that, and I'm probably going to vote yes on this. But I also think that making resolutions and laws to make political statements is not something that we necessarily ought to be doing.
One last
And that's
thing.
where I'm
I
going
really
to leave
don't care what Red Bank or Westfield are doing. Thank you.
it. Okay.
Hi, your name and address for the
I'm Mary
record?
Jane Finney from Farley Avenue, and I'd also like to speak to this same resolution in favor of it for two reasons. One, as a member of Refugee Assistance Partners, RAP, we work with people who are legal immigrants, and the fact is that even people who are legal immigrants are often frightened. And I think statements like this are helping to get out there that it's okay to deal with the police. I had a landscaper who had people who were legal, who worked for him, and I had a neighbor who did something quite malicious, and they were terrified that the police would be called and that something would happen to them, and they were legal residents. So I think it's important. So many people are frightened right now, many of whom have legal status, because there are places where questions aren't asked, just things get done. So I would support this, and I would support it also because I deal with and I'm part of a group that deals with refugees who are legal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your name, please?
Ma'am?
Mary Jane, she didn't get your name for the record.
just do.
Jane Finney, F-I-N-N-Y.
Thank you. Thank you.
On Farley. Okay. Seeing that there isn't anyone else, may I have a motion to close the meeting?
Motion to close the meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, under old business, we have one second reading public hearing that Councilman Yuba will
Yes.
move.
Thank you, Mayor. I call up for second reading ordinance number 17-11-R and request that the clerk, having produced an affidavit of publication, also read the ordinance by title.
An ordinance amending chapter 280 vehicles and traffic of the code of the Borough of Fanwood relating to Article 11 parking.
I move that a public hearing be held on this ordinance.
And I just-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call forward any members of the public that wish to make a comment about the amendment of Chapter 280 relating to daily public parking fees.
Essentially, this raises the daily rate to $6. I think it's self-explanatory. We had gone through an analysis recently with the changeover to allowing credit cards, and the borough was actually losing money at $5. So this just simply increases it, so we are not losing money anymore on that.
Any other questions? Anyone else would like to come up and say anything? Seeing that there isn't any, may I have a motion to close the meeting, the public hearing?
Move that the hearing be closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I move that this ordinance be adopted on second reading and final passage, and if adopted, be published as required by law.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Moving on under the consent agenda. Council President, I'll have you move the consent agenda, please.
Mayor, I'll move the consent agenda. That's items 1 through 4, Resolution 1707-134, and -135, and -136, and -138.
Second.
Okay.
Consent.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on under new business, Councilman Yugo.
I'll move Resolution 17-07-137. This is an authorization to submit the 2017 Preserve Union County Grant application.
Second.
And this is for the train station, I believe, right, Mrs. McGovern?
Yes.
This is for additional work at our historic train station for its preservation. Okay. So I have a motion and I have a second. May I have a roll call, please?
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next, I'll move Resolution 17-07-139. This is to authorize a Chapter 159 Shared Services Agreement with Scotch Plains on the Public Works Supervisor.
Second.
Second, and again, we are in a shared service agreement with the Township of Scotch Plains to provide them with public works supervision. And this actually is the agreement which allows us to take in, I believe it's the $12,000 to the end of the year. And I have a second. May I have a roll call, please?
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next, I'll move Resolution 17-07-140, authorize Chapter 159 Construction Office Line Item Changes.
Second.
Second, and Fred, this was as a result of additional monies that we needed in the construction office for our part-time.
Yeah, it's just moving monies around between other expenses and salary account, because we didn't budget it the way it's working out, so just move the money around.
Okay. So I have a second on that. May I have a roll call, please?
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next, I'll move Resolution 17-07-141. This is to authorize our New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Green Acres Program for the Nature Center.
Second.
Again, we talked about this earlier. This is allowing us, I guess, to accept the grant and bring the money into
into the budget.
this budget.
Yes.
May I have a second? May I have a roll call, please?
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then finally, I'll move Resolution 17-07-145. This is authorizing the TANs as Fred was talking earlier, to raise the bonds only if we need to raise the money for cash flow purposes.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, Councilman Molinar?
Yeah, I move Resolution 1707-148. This is to award a contract to Nigerian Associates to do the sidewalks behind, yes? No?
18.
It's
The,
18 Concord.
18
The
con-
Oh.
18, the 18, I'm sorry, it was a Jerry, was the engineer.
Okay, that's the contract, sorry, yes. You're absolutely right,
Okay.
to award it to them, to do the project behind the stores, which I believe, Mayor, you've wanted to do this for a while.
Nah, I didn't.
No?
Not
You're
important.
surprised by this project as all?
No interest.
Not important.
Okay, it's opposite day on council, so I move that resolution.
Second.
And may we have,
Mayor, this
Yes.
is also just so that everyone knows, went out for bid twice. Both bids, both sets of bids came in over the engineer's estimate. And pursuant to the local public contracts law, Fred was able to negotiate with the lowest responsible bidder and get a contract amount within the engineer's estimate. So your CFO saved you a lot of money.
Good job, Fred.
Thank you,
Yay, Fred.
Pat on the back.
it'll be a very nice enhancement there, once we get rid of the rats. Okay, so I had a motion and a second. Now we need a roll call.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on, under public safety, we have, I think it is three resolutions that Council President Boris will move.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'll move Resolution 17-07-142. That is an approval of an in-grade promotion for Michael Rusin.
May I have a second on that?
Second.
Second, and very appropriate, he's on the in-grade promotion after coming off this past week with the investigation that he did, and wonderful work, police work. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
I think we need a roll call.
Or I can roll call it. if
Oh,
you're
okay,
there.
that's fine.
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next.
Mayor, next I'll move Resolution 17-07-143. That is an award of a contract for the Rescue Squad ambulance.
Second.
Okay. May I have a roll call on that? And this ambulance is being purchased with 100% direct input and support from the rescue squad. Okay, may I have a roll call, please?
Kevin Boris?
Yes.
Jack Molinar?
Yes.
Russell Hugo?
Yes.
Tom Krantz?
Yes.
Erin McElroy Walker?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Last, Mayor, I'll move Resolution 17-07-144. This is the fair and welcoming resolution of the Borough of Fanwood.
Second.
I guess that's a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Under Land Use and Historic Preservation, Councilman Krantz, you have two resolutions to pass
Thanks.
tonight.
Since we had to go back to the drawing board and re-advertise for a part-time construction official, since our full-time plan seemed to fall through, we have to extend our two temporary appointments. So Resolution 1707-146, I move that, and that is to extend the appointment as temporary construction official of Michael Wright.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I also move Resolution 1707-147, which extends the temporary appointment of Richard Bizick as temporary building subcode official.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'd like to have a motion to open up the meeting to the public.
So moved.
Second?
No, we didn't.
No, we did it.
We voted. We're good. We can move ahead.
Okay. I'd like to have a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Second.
So moved.
Oh, so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think we did it.
Like to welcome
Open it up.
anyone up to the podium, and please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Dave Schwartzberg, Madison Avenue, 41 Madison. I haven't had a chance to speak to any of my neighbors on this subject, but just speaking for myself, I would be very happy if we didn't get a sidewalk that just got Madison Avenue paved. Driving on Madison Avenue for the last 2+ years has been like driving on an obstacle course,
We know.
and these delays, understandable but not acceptable. So we really would very much like to have the road repaved and resurfaced. And again, speaking for myself, and I now have a portable resuscitator, defibrillator that I have to wear. I'm not anxious to be shoveling sidewalks, so we would be very happy, I would be very happy not to have an extra sidewalk to shovel. Related subject, I wanted to bring it to the council's attention that if we do end up with a sidewalk, I strongly urge the council to seriously reconsider wording in the existing ordinance for snow removal. I'm not so concerned about a ticket for non-snow removal. I'm not so concerned about even getting a 250 lien put on my house if the town has to come and shovel my walk for me. I'm more concerned, and I know there's at least one lawyer on the council, to be subject to a negligence lawsuit if somebody slips and falls on a little patch of ice that's left remaining on the sidewalk. The ordinance says all snow and ice must be removed within 12 hours of a snowstorm. I'm afraid of trial lawyers suing me for 6 or 7 figures. If somebody is seriously injured slipping on a slight piece of ice that might be remaining on the sidewalk if it is so installed. I don't know what exact wording should be used, but I trust to lawyers to word it in a way that a homeowner is not unnecessarily obligated or subject to the whims of a trial jury about not only providing a lot of money to somebody who was injured, but also triple that, damages beyond that. And I think the town might also be subject to a lawsuit if you're not enforcing the law. And I spoke with Chief Trigo back 2 months ago when this first came up for discussion. He assured me that the town is not looking to give tickets to people who don't fully remove every bit of snow. Again, that's not my concern. My concern is being subject to a lawsuit if somebody slips and falls and gets injured. And as a homeowner with a sidewalk, it would be my responsibility to make sure that that sidewalk's clean, and it isn't necessarily something that's doable totally. The way the ordinance is written, I think needs to be reworded
Okay.
to
Yeah,
provide protection for the
I remember
homeowner.
you bringing that up. I do.
Thank you.
And just repeat your name and address, please, for the record.
Mary Jane Finney, Farley Avenue. I just wanted to thank you about the fact that you're putting sidewalks in from Quick Check on North Avenue, I heard tonight,
Yes.
to where North and Midway split, and I would appreciate that because I am a walker and I do walk everywhere. And I would ask that you consider as soon as possible putting something on Midway Avenue, starting at that point and going westward, because it's extremely dangerous
Right, Jack?
where the
Big
curve
job.
is.
Yeah, the nice thing about filling in gaps is the more gaps we fill, the easier it is to fill in more. So it's always trying to complete the network where it's logical and try to fix and add on to existing network and go from there. But it's a work in progress.
Great, yeah, because that curve is
It's a
the
big
dangerous
job.
place.
Yes.
Big way.
Councilman Molinar, I know that there was some emails today regarding some of the crosswalks or some of the signage on the Grand and Second. Why don't we just share that?
Some of the other things we're working on from a crosswalk standpoint for safety, it's 3 different crosswalks we're looking at that are on county roads. Right now, it's LeGrand and Second, Midway and Tillotson, and Midway and Willow. These are all county roads with crosswalks going across a county road. And there are existing pedestrian warning signs at these, and we're working with the county as part of our sidewalk program to install a flashing crossing sign that's on the actual sign itself. It's solar powered. Solar panels on top of the sign. You push a button and the outline of the sign flashes. It's been used in a number of communities. I've used it where I work at Rutgers. So right now we're working with the county, and I was talking to the police chief today, and he's the one who brought up Willow, because we didn't look at Willow originally. So we're going to look at those three to enhance those crossings, because this is a comprehensive look at really trying to do a push of making everywhere we can as safe to walk as possible. And this is part of that, and trying to focus on all modes of transportation, not just the cars, but make sure people can walk, they can bike, and they can drive safely.
Thank you. I thought that was just timely. Anyone else like to come up, please?
Good evening. John Torzewski, Madison Avenue. Dave, I'm your neighbor, $15 an hour. On a serious note.
Could you just give the address at Madison, just for the record?
45 Madison Avenue.
Thank you.
I came just a few moments ago, and I understand you've already discussed a little about Madison Avenue. At the May meeting, there were discussions about a secondary plan coming up.
Yes.
Has that happened, or is that still in the works?
So we revised the plan based on New Jersey Department of Transportation specs. We had to make sure that we were meeting the requirements of the grant, and we were, as you know, we were looking at either a buffer or not a buffer and all different widths. What it came down to, we were able to, after really re-looking, listening to everyone, talking to everyone, but this is why we're going to go back out and talk to you again, because we know this is important. It's always hard to build a sidewalk in an existing neighborhood. Just is, for everything that we've heard over the last couple of months, to snow removal, to why. So with that, what we're looking at now is a 6-foot wide sidewalk with no buffer. We feel that's a good compromise between what the DOT was requiring us. If we had a buffer, it would be a 3-foot buffer and a 5-foot sidewalk, so 8 feet into a lawn, which we think is not as good as a 6 feet. I think was a good compromise between the two, but that's why we're going to go back out to and do another resident meeting and our engineer has also created a spreadsheet for us, which we will share, that gives exactly for every single homeowner what the impacts are. Because that's really what you want to know. Okay, where's it going to be? What is it going to impact? And we have that as well. So we're going to be sharing that and doing more outreach because it's important.
Okay. Do you have any idea when this next starts?
Soon. You'll be notified, and if you can't make it to a meeting, what we're going to do is say, please reach out to us, and I'll come to your home. And as long as you provide beverages of some sort, I'll be there. Only kidding, only kidding.
Yeah, stress that, please. Seeing that there isn't anyone else, can I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we are done with our official business for the evening. And we will just start with some council comments down by Councilman Molinar.
I just want to say, everyone have a safe rest of your summer, and enjoy your family, and be well. Thank you.
I don't actually have anything tonight. Happy summer. See you in August.
Good night.
Slow.
I hate to be a downer, but I will be. The break-in on Farley Avenue really is something that my wife and I talked about a really long time that night, just because, it's not like those folks knew that victim. It was basically a random, they just decided to pick that house. And this is Fanwood, and that means that can happen in Fanwood. It reminds me of those nights when people wake up in the morning and they notice that their cars have been rifled through because people park their cars in their driveways without locking them. They get their laptops stolen. They get change stolen off their dashboards because it's all about the drugs and getting money for the drugs. So I just want to urge everybody to don't take safety for granted. Lock your door, lock your car doors, and just be safe. And have a great summer.
Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. And I just wanted to, again, say thank you to our Volunteer of the Month, Amy Nuzzo. She's one of my neighbors, and what a great fam jam that was. Just want to say thanks to her. hope we do it again next year. So with that, good night.
Thank you. And I think that I will just reiterate as we close this out that the last time that we've met, you know, there have been some incidences that have kind of woken us up with this random home invasion that has made us really stop and think and realize that it could happen in the middle of the Farley Avenue block. It could happen on North Avenue where I live. It could happen anywhere, and we need to be cautious, and we need to make sure our doors are locked and watch out for our neighbors. But very quickly, we have a great police department. Within hours, they knew who these guys were and girl, two men and a female. To the fact that we received one of the largest grants in our history of the town, over $800,000 for major transportation infrastructure improvements along South Avenue. We're doing something right here, and people are noticing it. To the Green Acres for our parks and our nature center, because we love our nature center and we love recreational opportunities for everybody. So all is well. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank those who showed up here tonight to talk to us, to share their concerns and comments. That's what government should be all about. I want to wish you a healthy July, and we will see you next month, this time in August. And with that, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.